All right. So, normally there's a huge, for me at least, investment of song and dance to explain, to explicate, to drive home the point that I appreciate the time that you guys share with me. We will not be doing that this time. I'm going to simply tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and thank you. And I would like to say, with all due beating around the bush necessary, that this is officially In the Shadow of the White City, Season 6, Feeding on Horror. When we last left our coterie, when we last left the Pisketeers, when we last left this group of adopted family styled kindred, all of these monsters from beyond the idea of what humanity is, we're greeted to the inhumanity of man to man. They are associates after the fact and technically accomplices before to the murder, in defense or not, of their prize, their dog they had stolen, obtained, and done an innumerable amount of violence to ensure was in their clutches. They are privy to the shock, which none of them have felt in years, from the death of the living, awash in all of their guests' face, the shock that's ebbing and leaking from them. And you all know, despite all the time from the last time you had that shocked response, that what's needed now is something warm, something quiet, and the opportunity for them to sleep. However, as is always the case in such things, when it rains, it pours, and your umbrella has several holes in it. Entering into the Pisketeers itself is the heir apparent to the full realm of the Thornton Township, the chief capital village being, of course, Dalton, in the company of men and women who are clearly trained, clearly capable, confident, and willing. The Voivod of the South, Decibel Albu. In the midst of all of this, as everything is happening, Decibel is being waylaid, being stalled, being held loosely at bay by the efforts of Zach, who has not truly come to grips with all that has happened in their own life. All of their ties suddenly torn asunder. All of the loss of things that very much echoes the loss of things for Dia. Very much echoes the loss of humanity for Seth. Very much echoes the willingness of Frost to abandon all semblance of humanity. And for those of you, those kindred who have survived 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, it is the first and most glaring of so few steps between remaining kindred and becoming a white, of losing themselves to not just the beast, but that darker thing that drives the beast forward. And we pick up with everyone standing in the doorway of the room set aside for the girls, with Zach playing Don't Fear the Reaper, and the remainder of the night for the coterie in the offing. What are we doing?
Getting that news, Dia would her softly and start barking orders. Not loud enough for Decibel to hear. Who do I have with me? Still.
Seth is joining more public.
Everyone except for Zach.
Okay, so she looks to Seth. Seth, I'm going to need you to move the girls to a clean room until we can clean this room and get it back in order. Here, and she takes a hoop of keys off of her waist and hands them over. Looking to Muzan, because I know Muzan was headed to, that's how he got back into the room. Muzan, help move the body somewhere. We'll get rid of it at another time. I have to go handle this. And turning on her heel, putting a smile on her face that's not too bright and forced, but a pleasant sort of hostess smile, and marching her way towards the sound of the music playing and attempting to push everything in her head about what she's just seen in the room out so that she can focus entirely on what the hell Decibel's doing here, because this is not a good thing. And walking in, Decibel, good evening. Thank you so much for stopping by. Why indeed have you stopped by, just out of curiosity?
This is a public house, is it not? This is a club. This is a place for people to stop by, is it not?
While that is indeed true, somebody of your caliber does not normally just pop by.
Is it good that I not? Or is there some other reason you are less than the stellar host you were last my visit?
Well, honestly, I'm dealing with preparations for a salon of some note. Several dozen toreador descending upon the Besketeers, and I have been a small bit stressed lately as to how to get that all pulled together, because it is a very important meeting, and if anything goes wrong, obviously it will be fairly catastrophic on my end. So while not quite unhappy to see that you've come by, I would assume that you could understand after hearing that how much of a strange instance it would be, and two, how potentially much of a problem it could be if this leads to something else, because you have brought all your hired guns with you as well. Like, I mean you all.
Don't you?
No, I do not, obviously.
Really? You say this, and you claim that this is all the hired guns I might have. You say this, and one of our number is no longer amongst the night. You say this, and another of our number, which I'm very thankful for personally, is divested of their aide-de-camp, their most capable and confident associate. I am very thankful that you are thinning the herd, but we know that there's a reason why someone would do such a thing, and it is not necessarily a good thing for others. So, I ask you, my stopping by, is it a problem for you?
The smile falters just a little as she is moving the chessboard around in her head, looking at him. No, actually it's not. Because now I know what you think I've done.
No.
And what you think I'm up to. And now I appreciate knowing that. So it's actually quite nice that you've stopped by now that I know.
I see. You believe this is perhaps one thing, perhaps another. It is good you have expectations. Now, are you a loyal, upstanding member of our community?
I have never done anything other than show that I am.
You show your loyalty by assassinating members of our accord. You show your loyalty. Interesting. It's a very interesting viewpoint. You are entitled to it. We all have our perceptions.
I showed my loyalty.
But
in
luckily,
handling a problem.
Problem? What problem was that? What problem could you not have brought before us all? She was a problem. Seems very personal of that. Instead of bringing it to us, instead of allowing us to assist as we are all good neighbors and members of our accord. So,
Well,
in light of your behavior, in light of your ingenuity in removing a problem, personal though it may be, I have a request of you. It is now roughly 10 minutes past the hour. I would like you to close. I would like you to remain close for 4 hours, starting at the turn of the hour, and allow me full hospitality as temporary owner for 4 hours. It will prove to me that you are in fact not what you seem to be. It will prove to me that there is no reason to take strength of arms against my good neighbor and friend, a good upstanding, loyal member of our accord. And it is a simple request, yes? Your party is not tonight, correct?
no.
Oh,
It's not
excellent.
tonight.
So the important thing for you, personally, that would not need tonight, and to ensure that you might very well keep your word, I have a request. The Prince of Milwaukee is having a party tonight. He has invited various members, but my distant cousin to the north, the Voivod of the North Shore, will not be in their domain. They will not be home. They will not be guarding their things. At their address is a journal. It's leather bound, about as big and wide as your chest, about as long as your torso. This journal is bound in bone with various human in origin materials used to create it. It is a book, like all journals are. It is quite heavy, and something that they would not prefer to part with. I'd like you and your retinue to retrieve it as best as is possible. It would take you roughly 40 minutes to drive the expressway from here to their domain, to their home. There at their home, you will use your skills and find it. And if it takes you longer than 4 hours, then you know that when you return, I and my people will have used your hospitality, will have enjoyed our evening, will have accomplished our task, and you will have accomplished yours. Is this fair? A simple test, a simple request.
Simple. Closing my evening early, losing out on any potential monies for the evening for the 4 hours that you will be here unchecked,
Oh, I need to be checked. Excellent.
no, unsupervised in my place of business for 4 hours while I go steal from somebody that you call a cousin.
I didn't say you have to steal. I said you have to obtain. How you do so is on you.
Obtain. Steal. Same thing.
If that is what you would like, how you obtain your things, that is not my place to decide. I ask you to retrieve something from a distant cousin to give you something
Is
to
it
do
yours?
while you have the opportunity of allowing me the hospitality of your business to ameliorate the lack of hospitality upon my visit. I popped in to see a friend, a loyal member of our community, and was treated with, "Why are you here?" This is not so sweet to the ear. This is borderline, mind you. My grasp of English is what it is. It means right on the cusp of. It doesn't mean that it has completely crossed the line. It has not. How do you say? It has not. Crossing the line, traversing the border. It has not gotten real. And think of this. There's a small bit of business between you and I. It will calm any suspicions that you are preparing for something that may be negatively impactful upon my business and other members of our Accord's business. After all, you did end one of us without bringing any information to us. You did weaken another member of us without bringing any information to us. And you are meeting with, I'm taking it, very important members of your clan specifically. Members who have powers, abilities, and reaches of the resources that we cannot account for because we don't know these individuals. If you were in my shoe with an up-and-coming, a person who has stolen a seat of power, who was allowed to exist beyond the death and devastation of much of our kin and our brethren, and it appears as if they are working to take out the weaker members of our Accord, and they are now meeting with outside sources of power. What does this seem like to you?
It sounds like you're going to see what you wish to see.
That was not
What
my
you hope
question.
to see.
What I hope to see is a loyal member of our Accord.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I see. Very well. Thank you for your time. You have an enjoyable remainder of your life. I hope all that you deserve will meet you in time.
That sounds very much like a threat.
You hear what you want to hear, or perhaps what you would like to hear.
Exactly. Now we understand each other. Thing is, I know you tend to back up your threats. I don't. I don't make threats. I make promises.
This is good.
And if you had at least listened to what I had to say when you come in, you would know why I handled things the way I handled them.
Not my place. It is your issue. It is your agency, as they say these days. You handle things the way that you choose to handle them. And we are forced to accept and deal with. I understand. That is perfectly your right. I
But
wish.
you're asking me why I didn't bring it to the
Oh
council.
no, I did not
I
ask.
had no time to do so.
I did not
yes,
ask.
you did.
I did not ask.
You mentioned the fact that I had not brought it.
Yes, I stated you
Before the
did
rest
not
of us.
bring the issue that
was a
concerned
reason for that.
potentially because you did not trust us, because you thought you could do it on your
No,
own.
because there was no time to do so.
Why not? When did you
We
learn
were
these
taking
things?
care of something else.
Something else more
Which was
important
a
than
small
associating with
problem.
your compact and your associates, being a trusting, outstanding member of our community.
Look.
I understand you have a busy night. Thank you for your time, madam. I will be leaving you. I thank you. As always, the place looks engaging. As always, it is such an unexpected pleasure to appreciate and be appreciated in your company. Good night, Senator White. And the well-armed, capable persons in his company immediately turn on their heel. He, however, backs to the stairs and then turns around, leaving a soft, lilting smile on his face. Now, most people assume that because of the dent and reputation of his blood, that he would be this monstrous creature of body horror, modifications, and all manner of things. But the Voivod of the South doesn't have any of those affectations. There's nothing inhuman about his seeming. No garish dragon-like claws or lizard scales, no horns or eye colors that don't occur in nature, no strange and wondrous displays of puffery. But it is clearly known that he is a lover of the human form. And as he leaves, just how svelte and how perfectly imbalanced all of his features are settles over Dia, like an after image of watching something from the third person and rewinding it and seeing it from a different angle. There is literally not one hair out of place at any time you have seen him. There's literally not any excess fat or undue fat. There is no measure of anything that is not in line with established ideals of physical perfection in terms of measurement, form, or function. All things in good time, all things in their place, all things measured out accordingly. It's an interesting notion that someone would take that time and that effort, but it clearly has been taken. While in the room, the girl's room, with the body and the corpse, the remainder of your prize, your dog, now lying in a heap, broken. The savagery of the attack that it would take to break that person's neck, to crack and pry open their jaw, to bash in their skull, shows a savagery that heartwarming in essence.
Seth immediately, as soon as Dia gives an order, Seth starts completing that order. The living, non-assaulted survivors, he starts herding them towards his own room because it's unbesmirched at this point. And he instructs them to get in that room while he himself reaches behind the bar and grabs a bottle, as is his wont. And as soon as the last one gets in his room and closes the door, he pops the top off and slams the whole fucking bottle. his new status and level, the bottle does not give him the respite it used to, but he takes it all in.
There are some things that are more wasteful than others. And there is the very real factor that drinking down the ash that as little as a night, perhaps two ago, would have felt as refreshing and invigorating as any meal that you've ever had. All of the necessary gastronomic pleasures would have come to you. And as the last drag of it settles in his gullet, there is a painful realization. It has done nothing. Absolutely nothing. It has satiated not even enough to make you felt as if you've gathered a handful of pretzels while out of the bar. Not even that much. There is nothing there except for ash and air. And there's a realization, one that is unavoidable. He has two warm, inviting women in his room. No one would be any the wiser if they pleasantly drifted off to sleep, having the best moments of their life.
Yeah, he's not going in his room. He was given an order by a person he sees as his personal prince, because his tower brain is...
Yes, and that's his 100% his tower brain. It is 100% his logic. No one would be any the wiser if he safely broke his fast willingly, knowledgeably, because he could keep himself safe and keep them safe. They would drift off to sleep and may sleep for the next few hours, may sleep through the entirety of the night, safe and sound and unimpedably alone. He would be satiated. They would be sleeping safe. All things would be in line with the rest of the world. And the truth of the matter is, as that ash and air that he chugged as if it was the last finest meal, only to find that there is nothing there, would you be so kind as to roll you one-third your humanity?
You stupid bitch.
Plus your unspent willpower, because even though it is as filling as trying to dine on the imaginary thoughts of a meal, the beast still understands the scent and the taste of blood.
I'm the only one who's really hungry right now because Muzan fucking choked on me and I have higher blood potency. God damn it. I'm gonna kick that Nosferatu's ass all up and down the goddamn street in about 4 minutes. Okay, so my unspent willpower... Shut it, you. Unspent willpower is 4? I think. And then my humanity is 7. 1/3 is +2, so 6. And hunger is 4. Oh, that's gonna suck. And then, what'd you say the difficulty was?
I didn't, but it's 3.
3 or 4? Oh, okay. 3. Okay, there we go. And this is a blood frenzy, right?
It is very much a hunger frenzy.
Okay, hunger frenzy. Blood frenzy, hunger, whatever. It is mean to roll hunger frenzy for a bagger. I'm just saying. Oh, sweet mother McGrady.
The bottle shattering in your hand keeps you from doing more than that. As the glass shards go flying across the bar, and the beast is a hair's breadth from seizing full control of you. You think of the phantom images that ran through your mind upon your return to your coterie. Upon waking up in that trunk, you remember the sensations of whatever it was that you'd done. And that guilt, that good, upstanding, Christian, Catholicized guilt, keeps you from following through on the very logical and needed divestment of blood from your guests.
Okay, so the girls are in the room. They close the door. I avoid going to the door like a wrecking ball. Barely. I'm going to search the bar for any vestiges of higher end source from our admittedly hated enemy over in Gary, and see if there's anything left that I can take in. But
Just have
I
a
don't
quick
know
question, storyteller.
if we have any of that.
Hey,
You said this was all going on while I was talking to Decibel, but then the fact that Seth comes in and he's rifling through the bar, isn't that going to be visible to Decibel?
no, you guys
Yeah, no,
are at the upstairs bar. You guys, he's at the
Oh,
downstairs bar.
okay.
We have our bar, and then we have the public bar. I'm up in our bar, getting the girls packed away into my room, and now I'm ransacking our bar.
Okay, that's why I was curious. I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't Decibel see this? But it means two different places. I'm good.
Yeah, it's two. The way I envision the Pesketeers, it's two separate locations. Zach had Decibel down on the main floor,
Up on the next.
and
You entering in on the main
You
floor, you
left-
go down to the Pisketeers. Yes, two separate places. Speaking of two separate places, Muzan and Frost, you guys are moving the body. How are you going about that?
I morph back into human form. Oh,
Well, look who finally decided to return to human shape. You've been enjoying that wolf form a little too much lately.
That was my next question. Because he's been in wolf form so often, are any of his features stuck in wolf form?
Not yet.
Oh, that's a thing? Cool. Sorry. It's more freeing. Also, I don't have to talk.
You don't seem like the kind of person who hates to talk.
Just gives him a look. And then says, let's get this body moved.
Alright. Let's take it down to... Ah, crap, you guys don't have a morgue, do you? Where the fuck do you put the bodies?
Furnace? Fuck, do we have a furnace?
No.
Do you?
No. You have a HVAC unit. You don't have a furnace. There's no boiler for it.
We have an industrial juicer.
You gotta put him in the fucking... you know how, what we did with the Zach's child. We gotta put him
Had a
in
child?
the meat grinder. For approximately 5 seconds, then I killed it.
I'm guessing that was before I joined you lot.
Just.
About 5 minutes before you joined us.
Oh, was that the stain you guys were pointing out to me?
Yes. Now let's go grind up some carcasses.
Please don't tell me you guys use this juicer for your guests.
And as you think that, you remember sitting at the bankhead that's behind the mirrors on the main floor of the bar where you all sat and watched the operations. You remember watching a 5-gallon water jug of a Bahama Breeze being made in that industrial sized juicer.
Frost
Hear
just
me out. Hear me out. We
probably
just
disinfected it.
we just drain the whatever's left in the body and we fucking bury it in the basement. Just dig up a little corner and shove it in there and put the dirt back on.
Yeah, let's do that.
Both of you have animalism. Do either of you have sense the beast?
I do not have animalism, actually.
Oh wow. Okay.
I do have protean, but not animalism.
I do not think I've got first level of animalism just yet.
All right. Well, that changes that. Do you guys have animal kin? Maybe potentially, because otherwise you guys are going to be
No.
you're going to be rolling a simple witch roll for me, please.
Actually, I do have one dot in animal kin.
All right.
I
Well,
think I have 2 dots, but let me check.
well, would you be so kind? That unfortunately, because of the lack of animalism, does in fact increase the difficulty from 3 into 4. Would you be so kind as to roll your witch plus animal kin?
Both of us?
Yes.
Please tell me that we both have to roll a grand total between us of 4, because I only have 3 dice.
Oh, this is going to be difficult.
And I quickly spend my experience points and get animalism.
Where do you guys land in the grand scheme of things? In the grand cavalcade of what fate decides to dish out for you?
Wits plus animal kin. Got it. Oh, Jesus, this is gonna be close. Let's see if the dice gods are today or hating me. Alrighty. Oh, shit, that's not right.
Also, if I suck out any of the blood from the... Well,
All right.
what for now?
So as you all are discussing, you guys are plotting and planning and working at how to get rid of the body in a way that, well, it needs to be quick, it needs to be moved from here so you can clean the room. And as all of that banding about is happening, a more observant, animal-focused kindred would have noticed. A more observant, more animal-focused veterinarian would have noticed. A more observant, humanistically minded individual would have noticed. But in this room, those individuals are nowhere to be seen. In this room is a gangrel fledgling who is losing all semblance of humanity by the night. And in this room is a Nosferatu who is attempting to regain some portion of the many bits of humanity that they've lost along the way because of their past actions, ties, connections, and, well, the fact that they have employed themselves as a person who fixes things by breaking others.
I succeed at a cost.
Would you like to?
Looks to my right, looks to my left. Why not?
As fate reaches out its hands to you, seconds before the sword of Damocles falls, seconds before the clapper at the beginning of a film sounds, letting you know that the horror of comedies is about to begin, Frost jumps, yelling, "The floor is lava," which is the first thing that popped into his head, moving onto the bed. In doing it, because it's such a ridiculous thing to hear, standing over a dead body, Muzan moves as well, leaping onto the bed seconds before the body begins vibrating and oozing out. oozing out of the body is a colony of scarab-like beetles. These beetles.
What the fuck?
These beetles clearly had been eating away inside of him for God knows how long. It is clear that what had been giving this particular mad dog their madness. Upon their death, the body's death, the bugs, the things inside animating it have decided to flee and find mobile sources to nest upon. And this is illustrated to you too as you stand there watching this colony of beetles, roughly the size of dimes, crawl one after the other out of the broken, carved in, caved in orifices of the body. Because they begin burrowing into the softness around them, the sheets, the beddings, looking for something to burrow into.
Oh, hell. What the fuck are these?
And you all think back to what you saw him able to accomplish. There are certain parasitic, symbiotic organisms that exist in nature that grant their host body altered abilities. The fact that these scarabs, these beetles, had burrowed inside this human, it is clear that their parasitic, symbiotic relationship is the source of all of that madness. Then you think back to his face before it was even more ruined as it is now, before it was caved in. And there was always a slight movement, a slight mania about the wreck and ruin of that particular individual's face. And you realize what you had been witnessing were these things inside of his skull. What you had been witnessing, the slight little small movements, the little jerkiness, were these things inside of his body. That strength, that rage, that ability to fight off that many police officers by himself. You're looking at the very real source of that ability. You're looking at Popeye's spinach go crawling along the ground of its own volition.
So that means he was a ghoul.
And Muzan decides that's enough justification to commit beetle genocide, and he is going to try and crush all of them, or as many as is vampirically possible.
All right. And as you begin stomp, dancing, tapping, Frost, what is it that you are attempting to do?
Stop Muzan because he's going to die.
I was using my foot. I'm grabbing a nearby plank and slamming it on the ground repeatedly.
I'll do the same then.
And as that jam session is taking place, Zach, you have been privy to, you've been in the room of, you have been in the warmth and grace of power plays socially, emotionally, and politically for longer than you care to pay attention. Your father was a bully, but it wasn't a bully in the way that most people understand it. Most people easily imagine it. When people hear bully, they think of someone big and strong and powerful, someone who towers over you with their physical presence and forces you to do things to their whim, or you get physical repercussions. You get black eyes, you get bruises, you get broken. No, that wasn't what Zach was privy to. Zach was privy to an emotional bully, someone who kept a calm tone while reading you for filth. Someone who didn't seem to be emotionally invested no matter how happy you were with your achievements.
His mom, in other words.
Zach has been privy to that sort of thing for far too long. He realizes and understands the manipulation therein. He realizes how those sorts of individuals prey. Words, lack of care, lack of investment, putting forth their ideas and leaving very little leeway. And watching it happen to Dia, watching the frustration build, watching Dia in the attempt of conducting themselves as a peer, you watch it happen again. And you remember several conversations that you were on the opposite end of that. You remember all of the times where, by you taking a stance, by you insisting, you fell into the other person's trap. As if they knew you would. They put you in a position where your natural inclination to fight back would cost you dearly.
And while that's happening, Decibel said something about 4 hours. That's when Antonio Calabalarchi's words regarding 4 hours echo in Zach's head. And then Zach then covers his face, sighs, and says, "Fuck, I had a feeling this would happen."
As Decibel leaves, and you are there with Dia, what is it that you are saying? What is it that you're doing? You're covering your face and going over what you've been told and what you're putting together in your head, but what is it that you share, if anything?
And Zach says out loud, so this is what he meant when he said the next 4 hours were going to be important.
Is physically and visibly like deflated, kind of like leaning against the bar, looking defeated. I looked at Zach. What are you talking about?
Our guest, well, the guest who's been staying with us for a while now, told me that the next 4 hours were going to be important.
And then Decibel comes in and asks for exactly 4 hours, during which we were supposed to be sent to do an errand, which I think I have fucked up royally. I don't know what to do now because I think I have painted a target on all of our backs.
Which is exactly what he wanted, I imagine. And it's a trap that I have fallen into far more times than I care to admit.
He wanted to be rid of me a long time before now, I'm sure. And I have stood in his way accidentally more times than I can count, possibly through Geneva and Nicole. Now I'm on my own. No offense, but on my own as far as people that are powerful, more powerful than me, protecting me, and attempting to focus on what I promised you, I have set myself for failure, it seems. And now, spit in the face, figuratively, of one of the most dangerous men in this area. And I don't know how to undo it because I can't take it back, and he won't return as far as I know. But there has to be another way out of it. Perhaps we should go visit our friend downstairs.
Well, he has been surprisingly helpful so far. Maybe he can spare us a moment.
So
Yes, when he gets back in 4 hours.
and I don't know about that in character.
Zack then looks up. At the moment, he is indisposed. But perhaps when he is not, then we can ask for advice.
But we need to know what to do now, because seeing as how the next 4 hours are important, we have just ruined the next 4 hours. I think I need to go talk to Seth. Either way, and she very tiredly drags herself down the stairs. For the very first time in a long time, not standing very tall and not standing very proudly, just kind of hunched, which is strange to see as tall as she is. Her looking very small.
And Zack follows, not really knowing what to do other than to just kind of watch what's taking place and have many, many things stewing in his head.
Many, many things such as...
The memories of his mother, the memories of some girls he knew in school, memories of some women he knew when he was still breathing. The socio-emotional political battle between Decibel and Dia, and Calabarshi's words.
It's funny, and not in a humorous way, into that dirty, dark laughter as to just how much Alanis Morissette's song isn't it ironic. It makes absolutely no sense. But it makes no sense because the song is not ironic. That's not what irony is. None of what she mentions throughout the course of the song. The song itself has nothing to do with irony, which in essence is the one irony in the entirety of it. It reminds you of if you give a mouse a cookie, and how there is a comedy of errors that happen simply because you gave a mouse a cookie. All the many, many things you have to do to account for giving your mouse a cookie. The question here is, who's the mouse, who's giving the mouse, and who is in fact the cookie? Because as it stands right now, adding things up with Zack's acumen from years of experience, you all are in fact the cookie. You will be devoured. You will be consumed. And in the process, well, it really doesn't matter at that point, does it? You all get to the bar, and Seth is standing there with shards of glass scattered all around him, and he's rummaging through the back bar like a person who needs to find their contact because they can't afford to buy any more, but they need to see, otherwise they can't drive to work. If they can't drive to work, they won't have the money to pay for their rent or their food or their gas to drive to work later. And it's important that you find the contact. No one moved, but everything else is in shambles. There are bottles scattered across the bar top as if someone's attempting to do inventory. There are kegs turned over, accessing the recessed doors for where the better stock is kept. There's all manner of clear, oh my god, I gotta find it, oh my god, I gotta find it, oh my god, I gotta find it.
Junkie behavior is what you're saying.
The desperation of the beast being held by a spider's web is a terrible thing. Or as Rick James said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. It's a hell of a drug.
Seth is not going to stop looking. He's looking for the oldest, best-looking bottles in the VIP area and trying to satiate what Muzan took. So if you want his attention, you're going to have to work for it. Hello.
We're waiting on Dia and Zach.
Dia, getting to the bottom of the stairs, stands there for like a good 2 seconds, and then grabs the closest glass ball and smashes it to the ground. Since we're breaking every fucking thing in my bar this evening, why not?
Okay, so you've got a very fucked up Tremere who's hungry as fuck, trying to save our retainer. He's a little twitchy. I'll break this whole goddamn bar if it means I don't kill all your girls.
If you break the whole bar, then there is nowhere for anybody to sleep. What the hell is wrong now?
The crazy Malkavian fucking drank me dry. My beast is beating around the back of my eyeballs right now. And the girls you told me to protect are in my room. And I'm pulling every stop out of my brain to not go in there and eat until I can't move.
And what in the absolute fuck is that noise? We don't hear the thudding.
I don't know what the thudding is, other than my beast beating me in the back of the eyeballs.
Did he drink the last of the bottle that I didn't drink earlier? Was that what he drank?
Yep.
I drank everything. Fucking anything that looked like blood, I drank it.
Hold on, let me back out and see what Dia's blood potency.
I'm gonna have to pick a new fucking predator type, aren't I? Oh shit, it's raining on me. Oh my god.
So Dia looks at him. My blood is fairly potent. If I give you some of that, will it help you calm the fuck down and help me figure out what the hell to do because I have just made an enemy of Decibel?
How the fuck did you do that?
He wanted us to
Never mind.
steal some fucking thing.
Okay. One problem at a time. I need to eat. Zach, you need to stand behind me and knock my ass out or pull me off. I just need a little bit of blood to get through.
Dia puts the bar between her and Seth, not trusting him to drink from the source. Very carefully cuts her palm and puts some in a glass for him.
And Seth, very unfortunately, unceremoniously, because he's not a veteran, he is a Tremere, very unceremoniously drinks it down. And will now roll his friendly again, because I'm assuming that's going to happen. Son of a bitch. What is it? Oh, nope. Fuck.
You know, here's the absolute picture. And this is the part that Dia finds as she's emptying herself into the glass and pulling herself back. Normally, if she bit into her flesh or some other kindred bit into the flesh, there would not be a need to tempt the beast to heal the wound. However, blades are not the same. Your saliva doesn't work the same on mending such instances. It means that if she blushes, she will leak like a sieve. If she doesn't blush, it means she cannot go around any humans.
So what does she do? So I know what to roll.
Oh no, you're rolling 1/3 your humanity plus your unspent willpower. Your difficulty is 3 because you did actually not only scent and see, but taste.
Exposure at we'll go full. Oh, son of a mother! Was
Luckily, it's not exactly a possibility, but it would be funny if it was. That you could lose control while keeping control. That your beast slaughters everything around you to keep you from having anything else that tempts it. Luckily, that is not a possibility. And even though your beast is still raging, it's still demanding more. From that nice open wound on Dia, there's an easy solution. Your beast bends you to it just like you would chattel from the olden days, by the scruff of the neck, bent and broken and forced to do that dirty thing. And for Seth, that dirty thing is as he quaffs down the hunger's worth of blood that Dia provided him. The moment that it settled and it hit like a gunshot in his gullet, everything was right with the world for a hot second, literally a nanosecond. Everything was perfect, but then the beast got hold of him, and there he is, pressed against the bar, his lips pressing firmly against Dia's flesh. And let's go, she chooses to fight him off in the middle of a near frenzy.
She's gonna headbutt me, isn't she? I'm just, assuming. I'm about to take I got a wound in my forehead.
Okay.
Dia.
I assume I would have to roll strength plus brawl to try to pry Seth off of Dia.
Or stop him from getting there, yes. Seth?
Dia has fleetness. She's not gonna stand there.
Seth, would you be so kind as roll your strength plus brawl? Dia, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and athletics? And Zach, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your strength plus brawl?
What's my difficulty? Because I'm
roll as high as you possibly can.
I'm fighting against 2 other vampires, right?
You're setting the difficulty, so roll as high as you can.
My strength is 2. My brawl is 1, I think. Total roll is 4. Hunger 4. And difficulty is non-existent because I'm setting it. Eating.
Oh, I've already failed.
I got 2 successes.
You dive forward. The bar is there.
What?
You die for it. The bar is there. Zach is there. Dia is not there. But the need, very much is you need more.
What, it's dead?
It's dead. This son of a bitch. And not only is it dead, it's not.
You're not as ravenous, but the need is still there. The beast is still poking and prodding you and moving you forward. If you have but a few moments, you might be able to wrest control back with a simple drought of vitae. But right now, you need more. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're not as ravenous as you would be if the beast had full control. But yeah, it's a need. It is a driving factor. You will do whatever you can and get a little more vitae, man. And speaking of a little more vitae, as the rumble at the bar is taking place, and the slaps and slams and the horrible rendition of the Blue Man Group is happening inside the girls' room, the Beatles seem to be learning, and they are pouring, and every time you slam one, another begins cannibalizing it. Every one time you break a carapace of one of these score of beetles, another cannibalizes the one you just killed.
Okay.
So watching the beetles cannibalize themselves based on you killing them, there's an unsettling factor. There's an unsettling thought. What happens if you Diablerize yourself right up to Cain? Who would be able to stand against you? And while it doesn't really make sense when in light of most beetles, these beetles don't make any sense because there are scarabs in the Midwest who have existed inside another entity's person. So, Frost, Muzan, what is it that you're going to do?
Okay, we cannot let these things escape, no matter what.
It's a fucking flamethrower for when you need one.
Alright, do we cut our losses and just start torching the room?
Now that you suppose we start torching the fucking room when we're stuck on a bed.
Good point.
Put the lighter in your pocket. The bedding is probably flammable. So are the drapings and the window treatments. Hell, you know for a fact the Kindred are flammable.
Shush, Malkavian thought. Who are you talking to with the lighter in the pocket, me or Muzan?
Muzan keeps a lighter in his pocket because he kills Kindred. Well, he formerly killed Kindred. There's no proof that he's actually killed anybody. There's nothing left, but, you know, these things happen.
Muzan does pull the lighter out at this point. We're really desperate.
Now, just to drive home this moment, simply because they're small, they haven't made it to the door yet, but they are surprisingly fast. This room that you are in is roughly a suite, and you're in the middle portion of it. However, when Dia and Seth were at the door, and Dia walked away, and Seth walked away with the two girls, did either of you have the wherewithal to close the door? Because there's not much, and they sure could squeeze underneath, but it would slow them down considerably more than an open door.
Frost would have because he
just shifted from wolf to man. So in that time of shifting, he crawled over to the door, half human, half wolf, and pulled it closed.
Would have said after he turned, but after he turned back, I'm guessing that's when the shenanigans and the scares happened.
Yes.
Which door? The main door or the secret passage?
Either. Nothing like having access to the Rosie, which is across the reservoir, or the many escape tunnels for the visiting dignitaries and local celebrities which allow them to enter from various places throughout the city. Nothing like having these move in instead of cockroaches or water bugs or ants or flies. Nothing like having a parasitic scarab procreating in your walls.
Muzan probably would have closed the main door so no one could see the dead body, but I don't know if he would have closed the secret passage door since the plan was to move the body out.
Well, you know, Dalton has survived several different invasive species. This one shouldn't be any different, right? It's not like they can crawl inside of a human body and nest there for years and cause all sorts of responses. They'll be fine.
All right, how many are left?
Bugs, so probably a lot.
The ones that you helped cannibalize and grow stronger, or the other ones?
In total.
There are more than the stars in the sky from a particular vantage point this evening. They spewed forth, and the body itself sags under the loss of their mass. All of those rippling, powerful muscles suddenly seeming less so.
Frost crushes to himself. Muzan, you think you can get to the door if I distract him long enough for you to escape and get some better armaments against these things? I can take a few hits. Hell, I might even have some in me already.
What do you mean, Mike? You can feel it there behind your eye now. Something moving. Something crawling and blurring your vision a little bit. Your eyes don't water because there's nothing there to water anymore, except for when you get a little overworked and the vitae begins to leak. But it definitely feels as if there's something there just behind your left eye that's moving of its own accord. Something crawling and slithering through that mucous membrane behind the eye. Something that is not you, but is definitely
I'm sure there's
there.
something in
Does Muzan feel that too?
Muzan always feels it. Don't you always have a bunch of bugs in you? You're not that kind of Nosferatu.
No, I'm not.
So what are you guys going to do?
You didn't answer my question.
I did not.
Yeah, like I said, Frost grabs Muzan because I'm suspecting he's panicking. I say, go with the others, staring right into his eyes, and then he jumps onto the ground and faints on the ground, away from the door, whichever one that's open.
All right. Good luck. Make sure they don't get out of here, or we're all fucked. And Muzan leaps through the the door with soaring leap. He does not touch the ground for fear of what is on the ground.
As he lands, safe and sound, and as light as a falling feather, when Frost held him, when Frost pulled him back from that precipice,
Oh, motherfucker.
when Frost dug deep and dug up the elder statesman that he was physically in his living moments, which weren't that long ago, you could swear that his left eye moved of its own volition as he met yours. You could swear that in the vitae-tinged sweat that touched your clothing and held you firmly. And there was some transmission. You know that leprosy doesn't kill kindred, but it's still that very real fear, that paranoia. You know that no disease itself, no cooties will actually end a kindred. But there still is the natural inclination to cover your mouth and your nose when moving through areas where you know people are suffering from communicable diseases. You know he won't kill you, but it's still one of those things you just do. And watching his eye move as if it had a mind of its own, as he stared into yours, he touched you. He touched your clothing. Those things, him, this moment, there's an ick factor that is impossible to escape, and you could swear that something is crawling down your back.
Muzan just starts swatting around his body like someone who's just touched a bug and now thinks that they're covered in bugs. He just starts swatting himself down.
I see him swatting himself down on the other side.
Yes. And as you're pounding the ground, because of where you are, because of who you are, and the fact that you've just come back from being as in touch with your beast as you possibly can without going right over the precipice, as you're pounding the ground, you're leaving the K10 sweat stains on the floor, and in the middle of doing so, you look for a hot second at where Muzan is, and beneath your fist, they're already there. The stairs are already beginning to crawl over you, and you can feel them crunch and crackle and break like dry newspaper underneath your touch, and they don't stop coming.
I mean, I scream, get a fucking move on! And then I try and grab, and you know, since they're cannibalizing, why don't I just fucking eat one? Start eating them off the ground too.
Would you be so kind as to roll your resolve plus composure with a difficulty of 4 for me, please?
8. Resolve plus composure? Mm-hmm. Ooh. The difficulty of 4? I don't know about that.
Because it is very much a angry lupine thing to do, just to bite, to chew, to gnaw on something that is annoying you in all semblances of yourself. And without thinking, you shove a handful of these crawling, crackling things into your mouth.
You just click on that other one from now on, huh?
And
that's what I'm learning.
And as your gorge rises, as your dead kindred system begins revolting, instead of spewing forth the bitten, crunched, and otherwise masticated carapaces of these scarabs, you keep it down. Your stomach, dead though it is, does not empty its contents over the floor. Worse yet, you begin to feel as if someone's trying to tickle you from the inside. And while that's happening, Dia, Seth, and Zach dancing away outside of his touch, far easier than you've done much else in the last few weeks. It is good to be appreciated for your speed. The last time you were appreciated for your speed, Dia, was, well, with Muzan's friend, your small date. The last time you were still a senator and not beholden to any power play, not beholden to any machinations, completely your own person in that moment. But this is a close second, considering there's no other moment that's come about. And Zach, watching Dia dance away and leaving you there with Seth, you're no match for him physically. Probably were no match for him physically while you both were alive, but it is even more so now. You've never seen his skin this close, this pale.
Hey! Hey! Buddy!
Your mic's open. You've never seen him this close to discern the differences between him in just as little as a week ago, just as little as 2 days ago. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, monstrous. He is less human than he was recently, and is there on him. The beast just underneath the skin, showing through. So Dia, Seth, Zach, what is it that you all do?
Dia's watching him. Wait, has he tackled Zach now?
No, Zach is holding him from doing much else, but just barely so. You know when the smallest kid in the group is surprisingly strong for their size? That is what Zach is right now. There's no way that Zach can staunch the bleeding, can stop the flow, can stop him for any period of real time if he really wanted to. But him putting his body on him has managed to stop the lunge, has managed to stop the lips, has managed to stop the whatever that was that came over him.
Gia knows that Zach can't hold him off long, and she's been paying some attention as to how physical things are supposed to go, so she's going to try to kick him in the back of the legs to take him down to the floor, so that maybe if they both sit on him, it'll get him to calm down enough.
So you're gonna move back behind the bar?
Kinda, yeah, like, I'm trying to get behind Seth.
Okay, so you're moving back behind the bar where Seth and Zach are to stop them from engaging further. Seth, you see it happening. You see Dia moving with Purtress. You realize that Zach is holding you in a manner most unbecoming for them, because they're not a physical person. They don't really do harm or harm reduction. They don't put their bodies in the way. They sacrifice themselves, but you're not a monster. Why are they sacrificing themselves to you? You are within your cognizance currently. You are aware as to what's happening. You are aware as to where you are and what pushed you to make that lunge.
As a Tremere, I'm looking at this situation. Does my internal compass pull me back from the anger now that I've been satiated a bit in the blood arena?
Yeah.
And now that I'm back to Hunger 3?
Yes.
Okay. Then I make a serious mental effort to pull back and try to calm the fuck down. Because, well, honestly, my boss is telling me to be calm. And I want to make whatever the hell is happening happen. Because my boss wants it to happen. Because I'm a Towerite, unlike all these rebel bastards. That is my conflict. So let me know what I need. If I need to roll, I will roll. But
no, you're cognizant. Your messy critical is settled. You are in your right mind, and Zach is holding you clearly because you were the worst monster at that moment.
The biggest danger, but I've gone from Hunger 4 to Hunger 3 because of the efforts of my prince / Baron. So I'm going to hold back. I'm going to try in every way to relax about what's going on.
Okay. Do you say anything to them?
I'm going to say to Zach, who is actively trying to restrain me. I think I have this. I think I'm good. Just don't go far. Because shit might happen. But I think I'm good.
Based on the noises I'm hearing upstairs, it already is happening.
It might already be happening. I mean, I need you right here next to me. That's what I'm saying. I need you right here. And, you know, if you have a taser, that'd be good. If not, a big heavy piece of wood would also be awesome. But I will try to behave myself.
Dia, hearing all this,
Okay, so I don't have to take you off your feet. Good. We need to find out what the hell else is going on in here. Because, like I said, I might have just made an enemy.
Did you say something bad to dumbass? I mean, Decibel?
Okay, let's see if I have time to explain this before I figure out what the fuck else is going on in here. He came here uninvited, brought all of his, well, not all of his, a good number of his personal armed guard, flexing muscles, and said that because I took care of a problem without mentioning this problem to them originally, and using our friends, quote unquote, to help, and took out somebody stronger than me, and then somebody else's second in command, he thinks I'm gunning for him. So to prove to him that I am not gunning for him, he wanted to take over the Pesketeers for 4 hours while I closed it, and during that 4 hours sent us on a mission to go steal a book from somebody else made of bone and skin.
Okay. One Baron was asking another Baron, and you have to envision this from my mindset because I'm not cool with the Baron thing, but one Baron was asking another Baron to deal with a third Baron's problem in another place to prove some kind of legally binding protection of all of Thornton? Is that what was happening?
No, to prove that I was a good, upstanding citizen and meant him no harm.
Yeah, fuck. Decibel will always assume harm. Decibel will always assume harm. He's a dragon. Fuck him. We need
that is the problem. Now that I have said no in no certain circumstances to going to fetch this journal from a cousin of his, quote unquote, that I have somehow now plotting against him, and he's going to treat me as I am plotting against him. And Zach, unfortunately, feels like I was being manipulated and didn't see it and fell into some sort of trap. I can honestly see that it's impossible, as he frustrates me to no end and did not let me talk, and of course, I'm going to attempt to defend myself, which is what he was hoping I would do.
There is no way you could defend yourself other than getting yourself involved in a combat between two dragons. There is no win in any of that. There just isn't. Two dragons fighting themselves, they will seriously lightning bolts, flamethrower, and otherwise hurt everyone involved in a discussion of that level. You did the right thing.
Hoping to evolve, by sending me and our group to retrieve said journal. He was hoping to keep his hands out of it, but had me prove to him that I was a friend and not a foe. By doing this simple, quote-unquote, simple thing for him, And she turns, hearing things going on behind her, and starts marching back down the hallway towards the girls' room.
Look, I won't say Reeve, I won't say any other title, but I, as your advisor, would say, stay the fuck out of anything where two dragons are trying to kill each other, which is what you're describing to me. We killed a bad person that was doing things that was going to reveal the masquerade. That's what we did. If Decibel chooses not to see what our purpose was, he's choosing that deliberately because he wants to hold something over our heads. We need to go back into what we were doing and complete that mission, and it'll give us prominence. I speak Chinese. I'll go talk to the Cathay and try to figure out how we break them loose from their requirements. Maybe bring them into our service. I speak Chinese. I speak their language. Let's do that, and let's Decibel figure out what the fuck he's trying to prove with anyone else.
She heard him, but she was walking away at the time, so it's up to him whether he wants to catch up or not.
Oh, he's following her. He is definitely her creature. So he's going to keep talking whether she walks away or not. Until she says, "Get away from me." Seth is going to be her creature and her advisor in all of this.
The door's closed. Frost is howling inside.
Is the door open inwardly or outwardly?
It swings out.
That means Dia will pull the door open. Push or pull. Alright, my brain.
Well, she knocked first, so that's fine.
This hears my howls, howling in pain. I'll knock first.
She would not knock first in that case, but where's Muzan? Because he left it and he was heading this way.
No, he went to the secret cavern entrance because the bugs were not over there just yet. Correct? Yes.
Well then, yeah, in that case, she gets to the door and very carefully, very forcefully whips it open to look inside.
Very carefully but forcefully open. Let's see how it is.
Okay, so now that the door's open, can Zach see the scarabs?
Yep.
As soon as Zach sees them, he shouts out, "Get the bug bombs now!"
You have fucking bug bombs!
That's a good question. Would Dia have bug bombs?
So you're attempting to take your airsoft BB gun and have a shootout with an M1 Abrams tank. Nice, good deal.
I'm just asking out of curiosity because that would seem like a strange thing for somebody to shout. And if Dia actually has bug bombs, it's up to her to whether she would use them or not. But I think that would be like a
Hank's just asking on it. Hank's just acting on instinct right now. He's not actually thinking.
I think the problem is a little past bug bombs. No. Shit. Looking at Seth and what do we do in this situation?
Close the fucking door.
Seth is definitely the more militant of everybody. He thinks that the coterie needs to take an offensive stance. Not against Decibel, but against Decibel's assertions.
I was hoping you would say against the Scarabs.
Yeah, I was like,
Seth hasn't seen the Scarabs yet. If he sees the
She
Scarabs,
did.
yeah.
She stepped to the side, motioning to Seth like, what the fuck do we do?
the scarabs that are probably crawling all over Frost. You know, me.
If Seth sees the Scarabs, he's definitely all about killing them rapidly, honestly, and repeatedly.
Some blood magic, dude.
But how do we do that? That's what she's asking.
Okay, so fucking Seth is not the world's greatest magician. He's working that shit out. I mean, other than stomping on them, he doesn't have much of a plan.
Well, they're bugs, so he goes in and starts stomping on them.
Hell yeah, he starts stomping on them. Especially Scarabs, because they have a bad habit of trying to crawl into people's skin, and dead people, like,
They're going to crawl
like
into
vampires.
through your feet. Got it.
All right, Seth, would you be so kind as to roll your strength plus athletics for me, please?
Strength plus athletics?
Yes, sir.
Oh my god. That's gonna be a sad fucking roll.
He's got this. He's fine. He's good. He's the James Bond of Tremere.
So part of this, it's okay.
He's the
Honestly, it's not anything like Lasky.
no. He's the Xander Cage of all Tremere. He'll be fine. Because you just entered the Xander zone.
We'll never say that again.
Please God, never say that again.
What?
Oh, you're not.
What? Him entering the Xander zone?
There we go.
Oh yeah. See, entering the Xander zone was a good thing for you. So here
Yeah, the zone. I'm about to fuck people up that I did not plan to fuck up.
you are definitely fucking up people you didn't want to fuck up. You know, that person being unfortunately you slaughter and begin divesting these bugs of their semblance of existence, crunch and crack, and it sounds as if you are the rebirth of Savion Glover or Gregory Hines or any number of former tapped greats. You literally go to town. You look like the Tremere version of Beetlejuice. You are without a doubt a whirling dervish of destruction.
And then
They began crawling over your shoes, up your legs,
yeah, that's,
up your pants.
hold on.
You tear them away and crunch them in your hands and realize that you can't crunch all of them. Some of those carapaces are far stronger than they should be. so you're stuck with them in your hand, and then another as you try to tear it free, and those odd, very weird bug-like antennae that they have that stick forward like they're some version of insect rhinoceroses barb into your dead skin. They, instead of being naturally repulsed like all other living things, they seem to find it sweeter. I'm watching this happen. Dia, Zach, Seth, watching someone else experience the lovely, lovely scarabs. What did you all do?
What is the door of the room made of, by the way?
Paper mache at this point. The bugs are small enough, strong enough that it would not, in any shape, fashion, or form, and they seem to be growing stronger the more that they feed on Seth and Frost.
No, I'm talking about fire resistance. Like, what was the door made of?
Paper mache. It's an illegal sex club. It looks great, but its semblance of being anywhere near code, you'd be closer to being within code if you moved to Venus. Fire doesn't happen in the club. You all don't do fire tricks for that specific reason. There's no flame retardants because no fire ever comes in. The flame
Come on, there's 2 Toreadors. Air spray.
All the more reason why fire does not come in. Are you serious? You can't stop the beat like that, Frost.
We're in the most fire-safe place.
Seth is completely lost his shit and is just stomping like a Macarena at this point.
What are the tunnels made of?
Stone. And Muzan, you're there. What are you doing?
So, was he successful in creating his weapon?
Yes.
Everybody clear! And he uses it right away.
No.
Death to all the scarabs.
No. All right. Muzan is there in all of his glory. He's holding an impossibly intricate mixed mash of things. The one thing that stands out to every kindred present is he's holding a source of fire. He has jury-rigged some tanks, some coating, and is standing screaming, "Everyone clear." Muzan, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and firearm for me, please? And while you make that roll, what is everyone doing when he's screaming, "Everyone clear"?
Mac backs the hell up.
Exactly, she's getting clear.
I guess I try and roll out of the way, even though I'm covered in the things. So
Crunch, 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 crunch. Go ahead, roll your dexterity and athletics, Frost. Seth, what is it that you do? Seth? Alright, we're going to say that you roll your dexterity and athletics to call it a day. So, Frost, you'll be rolling for you both. While that's happening...
difficulty then?
Just roll as high as you can. You all managed to clear the space as the room goes up. It couldn't have gone up faster if it had been soaked in gasoline or kerosene. It goes whoosh. The scarabs burn with the scent of honey and myrrh. And as they burn, the fact that the flame doesn't go out, would you all be so kind as to roll 1/3 your humanity plus your unspent willpower? The difficulty is 3. The entire room and view in front of you is aflame, awash in red, yellow hate. Because that's literally what the flame is for Kindred. It is your death in every rippling moment.
Question: do I have 5 or 4 humanity?
Single, my friend, single.
Oh yeah, I know, 1/3. So that's... Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. It's a difficulty of 3, correct?
Correct.
Oh, thank goodness gracious.
As the room goes up,
Had enough. You still failures.
as the room goes up, and you all mentally keep track of time, you realize that just over 40 minutes ago, Decibel was here. And just over 40 minutes ago, you were dealing with the ramifications of, well, monsters on the loose inside of your home. Just over 40 minutes ago, Frost was a wolf and avoiding his humanity. Just over 40 minutes ago, the evening seemed filled with possibilities. But that was 40 minutes ago. In the now, there is a mad semblance of humor as you watch the room fall in on itself from the fire burning away everything. Watching the room go up in flames, you are thankful that for all of its lack of fire retardant and for all of its lack of fire retardant, for all of its lack of modern amenities, all of its luxuriousness, its isolation and its suites and the way that it has been built, it's almost as if there's some random illogical sense to it all. And if not for the grace of God, there go you all, up in flames from one instance. Scarabs screaming as they die. I'd like to thank you all for a lovely session. I will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.